Alright, what do we got?
Hey guys, so as you can see, I cut another hole. This is just the little wall dividing two halves of the fish hole here. This is between the two front bins and the back bin. And we're not exactly sure what we were looking at. The best way to figure it out is to cut into it and check.
Yeah.
We know how far that goes in. Our plan is just to overlap this anyway, both sides. So we'll just put a piece of ply on the outside of this, and then that way we can use this area for foam, and we'll put another layer of foam on this side too, I think, and
Yep, simplest way to go about it.
beef it up good. It's hard to say, like, yeah, it's really tough to like cut into things, and all you can kind of do is just guess what's going on until you get in there and see. And yeah, and I still don't know what's going on. Yeah, what we'll probably just end up doing is well, I don't know if we'll peel this tabbing back, or probably the thing to do is going to be just like put a line here and cut it. And cut it on this back side. Doesn't seem to be like near as much as a fillet for whatever reason. Cut it on this back side and remove this this bit of tabbing right here, and then see what's going on with this wood on the inside. But if we just come off of here with a straight edge, and then we put our new wood in right there. I think this was an existing bulkhead that most likely went all the way up to the deck, and at some point they cut it down and put a 2x4 across here, and they did it to all of them, and they did that in order to have racks up here that they froze salmon on during the troll fishery. So we're dividing this fish hold. We'll have a smaller back hold, we'll have a larger front hold, and so we're going to go in here and we're going to replace this whole bulkhead. So we're going to go in with some kind of foam core like Divinasil or core cell, something like that. 2 layers of 1 inch will give us an R value of about 10. At some point we'll need to go in here and basically strip this whole fish hold and refoam and reglass it anyways. So we kind of beat the idea back and forth about just going in here somewhat temporarily, but then we basically got to the point where, you know, to just put plywood on this and glass it, it's going to cost at least $1,500 at the very least. Just the plywood alone would be about $600. And so it just doesn't make sense to do that, so we're just going to go ahead and we're going to cut this fiberglass back about 6 inches. Remove the foam in here, and then we can get down to where this piece of plywood was originally tabbed into the hull. And tabbing is basically where you just have a bulkhead or some form that you're laminating into the hull. So you'll put it in place, and then you'll have smaller strips of fiberglass, and you'll tab that into the hull, and then it can't move. This will become a permanent bulkhead, and it'll be in place and ready to go. So that's our plan.
Yeah.
So we got a lot to do, a lot of moving parts.
Long ways to go.
Yep. It probably seems like a lot of work to everybody, and I'm sure everybody's just like, well, why didn't you just buy a boat that was set up that way already? Well, the simple answer is there isn't any boats that are set up that way right away.
Nope. We have
Pretty much you find a boat that will fit your needs, and then you modify it to suit your needs.
Yeah, over the last 20 years we've made countless modifications to the fishtail, and we're pretty particular at this point of what we actually need and what we want.
Yeah.
So-
And so to get a boat like this set up just right off the bat, number one, it just really doesn't work that way. Everybody modifies boats over the time to fit their own particular application. And for a freezer boat like this, you know, it was set up to where it worked for them. We're going a different route with this. We have different fisheries and we have different applications, and we need this fish hole to basically suit those needs. When this was just a freezer boat, they were putting frozen fish in here and around. And so you've got a lot of gaps between all your fish, and they just stack them up like cordwood. We're gonna be filling this fish hole with water. For crab, we need to tank down. We need to constantly be pumping clean salt water in here for crab in order for them to survive. So we need a fish hole that's gonna be watertight and safe. And we also need one that isn't gonna be so big that we have to worry about, you know, over tanking the boat and not having enough freeboard when we're left, and that's what we're concerned about. So that's one reason that we're dividing it. Another reason is that we have a back hold that we can hold bait and ice in. Just makes it nice and makes it convenient. For other fisheries, same thing. For salmon, you have a bigger tank that you can put your fish in, and if you need more capacity, then you can go in the back hold later. The benefit of that is that you're filling this full of water and you're chilling it, and that costs money. It costs money to run refrigeration, and it takes time to get that water cold in order to have your product chilled properly. So that's less space that you need to chill down. You're not going to fill this fish hole up every day. Chances are salmon fishing might fill it part way. And so if you don't need to chill all that extra water back there, then all the better. So there's also benefits to it like that. So there's a lot of different reasons to have two fish holds or more, and that's one of them.
In the case you do fill your forward hold too, you can put all the overflow water into the back. That's already chilled water.
Yep.
In case you do.
Yep, because you're displacing that water and it needs to go somewhere. So it's either going overboard and you lose the cold water that you chilled, or you can reclaim some of it and put it in the back. So there's a lot of different reasons to be set up that way, and that's a couple of them that just kind of come to mind right now. That being said, I guess it's time to don some gear and let some dust fly.
Get dirty.
Yeah, it's gonna be a dirty, nasty day.
Yeah.
in the pile. Well, that wasn't very graceful, was it?
No.
All right, well,
Well, I wish we had the time to just tear this whole thing out and start over, but we don't. This is the best that we can do right now. It's not that we're not doing the job right or anything else. We're just doing what's within our means right now. And like I say, this is the inner skin to this vessel. This has no bearing whatsoever on the quality of the fiberglass or the hull outside. This is simply how we insulate our boats, and this is what happens when you get water intrusion over the course of a long time.
Yep. This foam job is probably, like you say, from the 80s, so.
Probably a 95% chance that it came from that cleat that's on deck over there, or the support that comes off the rail for the stay lines. We can see there's rust on those bolts down there where that plate is. And so there's absolutely for sure water coming through that area somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
And it's run down, it's followed the slant of this fiberglass, and it's run down, and it's just worked its way in. That's not that big of a thing.
Yeah.
You know, so you don't have quite as good insulating quality, you know. In a few years when we tear this all out and redo it, it will.
Mm-hmm.
Simple as that.
Yep. And
And we'll be redoing the bulkhead to this engine room at the same time. And then we'll just come in here and we'll, you know, rip everything out. We'll clean it up real good, spray new foam in, and that'll be that.
be good as new.
It will be, and better.
Mm-hmm.
Because when we're done with that, any penetrations that we have through the hull, we're going to do it like on the fishtail. So say you have a penetration that needs to come through your hull underneath your deck for some kind of reinforcement, you know, like in this case, like through to the fish hold. What we'll do is we'll actually make a tube that our fastener goes through, a fiberglass tube, and it'll be fiberglassed in on both sides, top and bottom. So that bolt, that fastener can go through there and tighten down. It's just one of those things that takes a little bit of time. It'll take a half a day or a day to goof around and make that and fit it and put it through. So all in all, everything looks good back inside there, back behind there. Nothing real glaring. We'll be cutting this cabbing out right here on this side. We'll cut this and we'll remove this. This is plywood right here. This is the original bulkhead. So we'll cut that. We'll remove this stuff, any of this rotten stuff, and then we'll let this get dried out good. We'll bring our new bulkhead up into here and then just have to work around this pipe. We'll leave that there. That's a chase that goes to the back. We're not going to deal with that right now. There's one on the other side that has our steering lines going through it. So steering lines and also a few other things, some wiring. So yeah, we'll mess with those ones later, but that'll all go away in the future fish hold iteration. So yeah, you can see that there's actually been a lot of water ingress through there. If you could get this all tore out.
A little bit of water.
Yeah, a little puddle. Down here it's all quite saturated, but I think by getting this old foam out of here, and this is where our sumps are going, that's why we're removing this. There'll be fish hold sumps in here that'll tie into this. They'll come down and like that, and then it allows all the water a place to collect from, you know, up here, and a pipe that will go forward and be attached to a pump so we can pump the fish hold out. But we'll make this so it'll allow this water that's accumulating down here, will allow it a place to build up, and we're probably just gonna drill through this stringer, just a small hole, like a 1-inch hole. We'll glass a tube in there and allow this seepage a place to go. And maybe over time, a lot of that stuff can accumulate there and run out.
You'll avoid things like this, where
Yeah.
that entire sheet of laminate delaminated against this because the freeze and thaw cycle
Yep.
popped it up.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
that's what we mean to avoid.
Yeah.
By giving a place to go.
Yeah, it'll give it a place to go, and this just gets pumped out anyways. It gets water in here and we pump it out regularly. And so that'll give it a place to go. We'll put an expanding plug in there and we can just open it up once in a while and pop it out. And any water that's accumulated like this can flow out and then pop it back in there.
Mm-hmm.
And then that way, if the shaft alley gets up above the level of that plug, we're not flowing water back into here. So it's simple. We just put those plugs right where our inspection hatch is. That'll be over the top of this bearing anyways. That should be about the right spot in there somewhere. We're just down to, stripping this area out. We'll start getting this water out of here, get all this foam cleaned out, and then start busting this wood out. I think these 2 columns are gonna have to go by the looks of it. Probably come back in, and on the back side we'll either reinforce our foam bulkhead with, like a similar 2x4 of foam, and then glass laid up over it to create a big rib, to create like a stringer almost, for that compressive force that we're going to get from this water.
Right. A few hours later, 2 hours later, 1 hour later, I don't know. But
Something like that, yeah.
the carnage.
We're just digging away.
It's a disaster.
Yeah. What have we gotten ourselves into? Nah, just kidding. We're not that worried.
Nothing we didn't expect. That's
Been
for
in
sure.
similar situations before. We're ripping out bulkheads. We've replaced all the bulkheads on the fishtail. And and the decks, and the holds. Nothing too scary here.
Nope.
Just kind of slow and tedious, and trying not to go crazy and tear into stuff. Kind of taking our time a little bit. You just kind of you dig in, you see what's there, and everything is subject to change right now.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. You just kind of evolve along the way.
These columns, looks like this is probably original. This was added later, I'm guessing, huh?
Yeah,
And
definitely.
just difference in the color of wood. This wood is completely different. Now, we were told that it's yellow cedar, the framing on here, and whether it is or not, I don't know. But you can see that that's some really, really tight, straight grain on that stuff. Same thing as the deck beams. Completely different feel and workability than pine. This one does go down to the bottom of the hole, but it's coming out because there's some rot there. The others are actually just sitting on top of whatever this layer of original fish hold might have been.
That's what it is, huh? Because this tabbing wraps
Mhm.
around and this is notched.
Yep.
I see it now.
Yep, and this was original gel coat. So there was actually a layer of glass, this on top of here. So it looks like at some point that they'd gone in here and possibly refoamed this and reglassed it. It's hard to say.
Yeah,
It's kind of a crazy thing. You just kind of a lot of it's speculation and conjecture, but you don't really know.
It's kind of fun, seeing what they did though
Mm-hmm.
in the past. A little archaeology here.
Yeah.
Fiberglass.
So all in all, things are coming right along like they should.
Yeah, producing a pile of waste, water saturated foam.
Yep.
More weight.
in this foam. So if anything, this will give it this stuff will dry out some.
Try and get everything exposed and
Yeah.
know what we're all looking at all around.
If we get this side dug out tonight, that'd be nice.
Mm-hmm.
Let's fire up that skill saw.
Yep. All right.
That's pretty now. There's not a really cut there.
It's free now?
Yeah, I'd say.
Oh yeah.
Let's cut her off at the top. Okay, we've gone from a big hold to starting to be a smaller hold to being a bigger hold. I'm not sure if we're moving in the right direction here. Oh, nice workbench. Wow. That changes the view.
All right. Well, I'm gonna tidy up this carnage.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's been a good day, actually.
So yeah, next thing is cut out this other little bulkhead on the side. We already planned on when we bought this boat. We'll reconfigure these fish holes at some point anyways, most likely sooner than later. And in 10 years, you know, I don't expect that this fish hole will look anything like it does now. Most likely we'll go in here and we'll just start at the top and we'll cut this deck out and everything comes out down to bare glass, down to a bare hull, and then you start over, you frame in your bulkheads and you just do everything right as best as you can. And the biggest thing is when you get really back up to the deck, what you put on your deck determines how long your hull is going to last, how long your deck, how long your bulkheads are going to last. Most likely this water intrusion was not only from the pit back there being open, but also these penetrations on deck right here. You got this cleat right there, you've got that cross brace. I can see that it's rusty, the bolt on the inside, which means there's a leak there. It's been rusting, and that water most likely migrated down into the skin between the fiberglass hull and fish hold lining, and it's not that big of a deal.
Water in your substrates isn't an uncommon problem
No.
on fishing boats. It's
No.
it's just a matter of time before
Yeah.
it happens. It's
It's
no
a
matter
matter
how
of
well
when.
you fix your penetrations or seal them, it's just a matter of time before it happens. I guess we'll continue on here.
Yeah,
Finish up our
continue
stuff.
cleaning up and going home.
Yeah.
Dinner. Cool.
Okay.